Does that sell one t-shirt? Does that sell one action figure? Does that sell one pay-per-view? No, I don't get it. It's as real as our ancient yearnings. That's a Vince McMahon line right there. Ha ha. My wife said I have to get those in. So start counting, everybody. All right. It's as real as our ancient yearning, not merely for a hero, but the villain as well. Just as they need each other, so do you. So do you need them to tell a story. But what of the story of the wrestling itself, or the story of wrestling itself? What if a canvas could speak on an ageless carnival with primeval roots, but came of age with what? With that most American of institutions, television. As television changed, so did wrestling. And together, they changed America. And Hogan changed America last night, too, or Monday. That's not there. That's my commentary. Truth is, a great swat. I know he wanted to say, it's funny. That's his opening interview thing. Truth is, a great swath of American culture is born of that eternal battle between the face and the heel. Should we stop right there?
There's one more as well. Something to do with real.
No, it's later on. Yeah.
Include that line, or is that not him?
No, it's not there. I copy and pasted this off one of the news sites, but he did say a work into a shoot, right?
Yeah.
Towards the end. So we don't have to read the rest of it. Basically, I'll tell you this. He did a lot better read than I did, but he had practice and multiple takes. Whoever wrote that's awesome, but there's some very old school Vince McMahon verbiage there that, like, it's just weird, unless it's just instilled with the company. But that sounds like something Vince would voice over. Very weird. I mean, Triple H is essentially turning into Vince. I mean, like Punk said way back, you don't even have like pants with back pockets for your wallet or anything. So that was a famous rub amongst the boys that Vince never had pockets in his pants. It's very weird.
Really?
In the back. Yeah, where you keep your wallet usually.
I never kept my wallet in the
Listen,
the
these
back
people
anyway.
are way above our pay grade. I mean, we don't look, and like,
he pays people to have pockets for him.
Exactly. He has somebody call it, maybe it's Orange Cassidy. That's what Jim Cornette calls them, pockets.
That's a lovely callback.
Get me pockets.
So the real issue here is that in the introduction, if it is an issue, that he's saying the words heel and babyface and work and shoot in the context of a professional wrestling live broadcast to the fans.
To the casual fans that have never watched wrestling. Possibly.
Okay, that being... All right, so Triple H says heel, babyface, work, and shoot. I'm sure everyone in the crowd, or most people in the crowd, will know what these mean, but still, it's 2025. Should professional wrestling and WWE be using insider terms on their own shows to basically say fake?
Yeah. I mean, I'm saying no to that, and I'm agreeing with you. They should not. This is the whole thing with this. We get on AEW, and we have, about them already expecting to know, like the angle between Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher, this angle, that angle. We're supposed to know what the Continental Classic is supposed to be and not be confused at all. We're supposed to do homework as wrestling fans instead of the suspension of disbelief, the mystique, all these different things, and interpreting for ourselves what these things are without the inside baseball terms. That's what we criticize AEW for. How WWE, like I said, why is WWE taking the media scrums from AEW? And why now is WWE cluing the fans in, hey, you fans in attendance, you paid a lot of money for a fake. Hey, by the way, catch the show afterwards so we can tell you how fake it is. Yes, I agree. And these words don't do anything except potentially confuse a casual fan. And the fans that are smartened up, like, oh, wow, he said that. Does that sell one t-shirt? Does that sell one action figure? Does that sell one pay-per-view? No, I don't get it. And I know their way of looking at it, James. We're not going to insult the intelligence of the fan anymore. Okay. Then why did you give them 4 matches in 3 hours and 20 minutes if they wanted to like, come and watch a wrestling show. And you ran unopposed to Monday Night Football for the first time in months. This was your time on a service where people pay. Now, people could have paid just for the 1 month of Netflix to see what the WWE was going to offer. Do you think they're going to stick around? I guarantee you week 2, 3, and 4 are not going to be the level of effort that they put in, or the presentation, or the arena. All those things are going to diminish somewhat or excessively over the next few weeks and months.
I was thinking Randy Savage always used to say something like, "You got to be ribbing me," and it's like ribbing. I mean, it's mostly used in a pro wrestling context. I don't think that many people would know what a rib was, but like that's one of the words that always seems to come out in promos like throughout the years that I noticed. And there's the occasional other one as well, but I always find this one particularly I found jarring because you're sort of settling into the wrestling, so you know you just sort of. I think as a wrestling fan, and you know obviously as a pro wrestler, ex-pro wrestler as well. Maybe current again. You never know when you're going to get back in the ring. It's you just go through this automatic process of suspending your disbelief as soon as you turn the channel on, and then anything can take you out of that. And I think it's sort of just a weird thing to try and take, just to make it that much harder from the off to sort of get into it by sort of saying those words.
Vince is whatever. Vince McMahon is whatever people you can see all the stuff that's come out over the past few months. But you have to give Vince credit for at least having his finger on somewhat of the pulse of what a casual fan or somebody. It's cliche. We used to joke about, you have to say your name 100 times because someone could just be changed the channel. That's excessive. But I do agree if somebody's watching, it's not their job to go and look up what work and shoot and baby and heel is. By the way, pick up a phone, you're not watching the TV anymore, which you could see a lot of people in that LA crowd doing this with the fun, like not even watching, just watching through the screen or live streaming it or doing whatever on their own little platform. But Vince always said words mean everything or something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing. But basically, it's like I hear a lot of people saying the word kill. And Vince back in the day would be like, how can you follow through with your promise? Maybe they can follow through with the promise today the way the spots are, but how can you follow through with a promise that you're going to kill somebody? And it made perfect sense. Not even on the microphone, but in the ring. If somebody's over, like, I'm going to kill you. Like, he's like, how are you going to follow through with that? Also, he would say, kayfabe, rib, babyface, heel, even when Vince cut the promo. Remember the infamous Attitude promo where he said, the white hat and the black hat and the good guy and the bad guy.
Good
now
guys
it's
versus bad guys. Yeah, that was in late 97, yeah.
Now, that was taboo back then, but he still used the words that people who never watched wrestling could understand. And I dare to say, that promo with the Attitude Era where they ushered it in is a 1-to-1 ratio of this promo. Was Triple H trying to recreate that Vince promo? I just kind of put them together like right now, but literally that's a long, extensive version of Vince's Attitude Era promo.
Triple H was doing this at WrestleMania last year, was doing the same thing, constantly talking about new era, new era, new era all the way through. So I think ever since Vince left in, January of 2024, that's all this has been. But, but on the biggest platforms, WrestleMania, Raw on Netflix, the debut, this is where he's really hammering it home that Vince is gone.
Well, if everything is the new era, it's like the Dixie Carter. Every month, something was changing the face of wrestling. If everything's the new era, nothing's the new era. And dare I say, this dude has been everywhere. Like, I've seen things online, 14, 15 things. It's all about Triple H. Like, this is still my theory that these guys on any level cannot let go. And if you're saying like the first two things I see are two people I'm not going to see each and every week on Netflix, and then John Cena, I would say John's probably going to be a weekly thing leading up to his last match at WrestleMania. That's probably a safe bet because John will contribute as much as he can. But The Rock's not going to be there every single week live. He might do pre-tapes and stuff like that. Triple H can't perform, obviously, because of his medical issues. So I go back to the Saturday Night's Main Event thing. Why is it after the Cody stuff and the package pile driver, which everybody forgot about, and Cody was able to just diamond cutter and not get any heat? We'll get to the no heat on this show whatsoever, but Triple H and Kevin Owens get into a shoving match after he lays out Cody. Is the money there? Like there's this weird thing where Hunter is still playing the part of somebody interjecting himself into angles and all these other things, but you have no payoff where there can be any physicality in the ring. So it's very this, you talk about money mark. This reminds me of a promoter putting himself on top of the show on the indies. Because everywhere you turn, it's Triple H. And if they're trying to shove it up Vince's butt with all this stuff, you're only damaging the product yourself. And then Triple H is in the ring, Rock is in the ring, all these things are happening, and you have, and we'll get to this part right now, you have active wrestlers that you have on each and every week outside as fans. Now, this is the UFC presentation, but in theory, it's great. In execution, it doesn't apply. There's two different things we're looking at. When you have a fighter in the crowd at UFC watching a fight, number one, they're usually having that person placed there because he's fighting the winner or he's fighting the guy who, whatever is involved in that fight. And his fight's not going to be in for another month or two. And he's not fighting each and every week on UFC and then sitting in the crowd as a fan. These people that are sitting in the crowd are going to be on Netflix next week as wrestlers, but they were presented as first impressions as they look like every other fan. They should have had him in a skybox. They should have had him in a special section. If you're going to have them in the crowd. And what I look at is, it's kind of like WrestleMania. Why would I sit in the crowd of WrestleMania? I want to be on the show. If I'm not on the show, don't even put me on TV. I don't know. Do you feel that way when you look at them in the crowd? It makes them look besides the fact, it's like some of the people that were behind some of the wrestlers look bigger than the wrestlers.
Well,
you don't want that.
That's why Austin wasn't on the show, because Austin's too smart. If you're not going to use him in a very, very significant way, then it's better off that he's not thought of at all.
Yeah. We went into great detail on the Raw SmackDown review about how Steve is one of the only guys who hasn't truly sold out. He has not done one Saudi show. He hasn't come back other than the Kevin Owens thing in Texas, which was his choice. And he looked great. He looked nearly in his prime for somebody that hadn't taken bumps in forever. But he's one of the few that will protect his legacy. And we're going to get to Taker because they didn't even get 5% out of Taker on this show. My God.
So we've already done the Triple H thing. I'll bring it back to the shooting work and all that kind of thing one more time. I want to give an example. Matt Stryker was really bad for this. And we're talking about commentators beforehand saying things they shouldn't. We're talking about Matt Stryker specifically talking about insider language when it really isn't necessary. And I remember one New Japan show, I can't remember if it was a Wrestle Kingdom or whatever it was, where Jim Ross basically admonished him. Like Matt Stryker was saying, whatever insider terminology it was, getting heat, let's say. And Jim said, I don't know what getting heat means. Can you explain that to me? And Jim knows exactly what it means. But the thing is, he is, and rightly so, he's the voice of the fan. Even though I'm sure everybody watching Wrestle Kingdom knows what heat is or understands what they're seeing to they're a smart mark, I guess, in that respect. It's still not the done thing, and it sort of sucks the magic out of it sucks the magic out of the presentation, I think.
What ends up happening a lot of times, and this is where it's extremely difficult as a wrestler or even as a commentator, anybody involved in wrestling, to not be overly tempted to pop the boys, to not be overly tempted to get too cute and say, you're smart. JR's got the right idea. We need, there's a certain tightrope that you walk. Like Hunter, we don't want to insult the fans. We don't want to insult our fan base. We don't want to insult the WWE universe. But you also don't want to make them feel stupid to not understand what something means or to have a disconnect with verbiage. And yeah, the commentators, it's extremely difficult to fill that time in there. But you got JR. JR is the one that's carrying 90% of the workload, and you're reacting off that or just putting in a little bit of a thing that a wrestler would do. Yeah, getting heat, it's stupid to say in a way because somebody's going to go, what does that mean? But if you say he's beating him while he's down, he's keeping him down, he's roughing him up, he's trying to hurt him, people can understand that. You know, he's trying to win the match, but he's doing it in a heel way, not even in a heel way, but he's doing it in a way that cheats or it's a little he's taking shortcuts or whatever. I have no good way to suggest other than really removing yourself from the wrestling bubble, which is the hardest thing for anybody in wrestling to do because it consumes you. It absorbs you, and now that's spilling over into a TV network style presentation. It's spilling over now into trying to talk to the casual fans this way.